Wakili, I want to look at the system, right? I want to look at the system in terms of how that then forms the future of a country that we want to be in.
Yes.
Rigathi Gachagua went through a process that the court itself has admitted was unlawful. It is not us. It is the court that has admitted that process was unlawful. And you read that together with the fact that in 2017, the elections were nullified because of the process did not meet the threshold that was required. Now, if we're talking about any impeachment that is to follow, if members of parliament both at the Senate and the National Assembly are given an impeachment motion and they do not care the substance of that motion and proceed to vote for an individual to leave without really understanding the nitty-gritties of that, what exactly are we doing to the rule of law, the Constitution, and ensuring that we live in a country where the Constitution is sacrosanct, is respected by all and sundry?
Thank you, Dennis. And let me just take it slightly back to where Mukua had started. Impeachment is a very interesting concept. It is, let me just loosely say that it is political in substance, but legal in process.
Yes.
And that is just lightly saying it because, of course, there are legal issues even in substance and all that. But the court held correctly that it can only do a process review, not a merit review. The reason why you have those safeguards of supermajority twice is to ensure that that power to impeach is not abused.
And also the threshold.
Yeah, that is the supermajority threshold. That is the 2/3. But then again, if we are saying, if the court tells us that we can only intervene to audit the process and check that the process was complied with, and they do that audit and find that there was an issue with the process, but then they don't, do anything meaningful about it, the message that sends is that, you can do whatever you want to accomplish, and then even breach rights in the process, we will find a way to justify it. The more correct course of action, in my opinion, would have been for the court to invalidate this entire thing. And we have a saying, I won't say it in Latin, I'll just say it in English, let justice be done, though the heavens may fall. Because if we continue to make these allowances, these small allowances for the Constitution to be violated, very soon we are going to end up in a position where nobody cares, nobody respects the Constitution, everybody does whatever they want because they know they can. They can. At least right now, there are some things that that cannot be done. Okay. But we are starting on a very slippery slope. And the man who sat here before us, former Chief Justice Maraga, he actually did something when it was his tenure. He nullified a presidential election, which was the first time it had happened in the whole of Africa. Yeah. And on top of that, he advised the president to dissolve parliament. Those are the kinds of judicially courageous actions that are needed to protect the Constitution, to ensure that, because what essentially the court said is you can violate someone's rights in a process important as this, and then pay him, pay this person. That is fundamentally flawed. It is so wrong, because this person has to live with the consequences of impeachment. If the two other courts do not overturn this person will have to live with the consequences of impeachment, which means he can never hold public office. Yet the process that got him there, somehow violated his rights. And I do understand that, of course, we don't live in a vacuum, because the other side of the argument, is also worth looking at. The courts were saying, this guy was impeached, fine, his rights were violated, but some things have been done from that moment in time up to now, which are not easy to undo. Quashing that impeachment would have meant automatically, whether Rigathi Gachagua asked for it in his pleadings or not, would have meant that we go to the status that was there before he was impeached, and that is him being the deputy president and Professor Kindiki being out of office.
But Okili, where the law exists and the law is clear, an abrogation of the law existed. That means where we sit today, the hold of that office is there illegally. If I am to interpret that ruling as a settle, because the process did not follow the law. Therefore, whoever holds that office today is as a result of an illegality that happened.
And that is why the court found itself doing some gymnastics. It had to do this gymnastics. Because how else would it justify, saying that there was a flaw in the process, this person was not heard, but we are not. So they had to do this kind of gymnastics to try and balance things to ensure. And of course, judgments that come over political matters like these ones, they will never make people happy. Rarely. They will not make, at least some factions will be very, very unhappy with them. But you also have to understand those judges. And I'm not saying that they did the right thing. I'm just trying to try and understand what might have been the thinking, what might have been the philosophy. And the philosophy was consequences. If we undo this process of this person who was already appointed into the office and return this other one, what kind of anarchy will we throw the country into? Realistically speaking, if Rigathi Gachagua was reinstated as a deputy president through court, how would he work with Ruto? After 2 years of trading insults, barbs, all those things, how would they work? Because a president and a deputy are actually supposed to work sort of like in a marriage, supposed to work complementing each other, holding